Mario Brothers. Whee! Oh! Go. Oh yeah, Mario time. Ho.